Welcome back to our official club podcast, All About Ours. I'm Simon Cheshire, and as always, I'm joined by former Rangers winger, England international, and club ambassador Andy Sinton. Sint, thanks for joining us. How are we?
I'm good. I'm feeling really well after my illness a couple of weeks ago, but good to see you. And obviously, great that Jamie's joined us. I'm sure you're going to come on to Jamie in a minute, but no, it's good to be back.
Once again, we'll be covering all things QPR and football related with a host of former R's giving us an insight into life in W12. All About Ours is available on our website, YouTube, Recast, SoundCloud, iTunes and Spotify channels, so you have plenty of options to tune in and get your QPR fix wherever you are. Right, having made 110 appearances, scoring 24 goals in all competitions for the R's during two separate spells, we're delighted to be joined by the one and only Jamie Mackie. Jamie, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Great to be here. Pitch is amazing. Me and Since were just talking about it. It's just, it's unreal. Great to be back. And
I wish you were still playing.
When I see it like that, yeah. But I think everyone watching is happy I'm not playing anymore. So. But you, obviously you'd always want to play it, but it comes to an end for everyone. So, but I'm lucky I've got good memories. That's the main thing.
Brilliant. And obviously retirement, when you called it a day, what was that like? What was the thought process? Were you going straight to media or?
No, it's you know what, I think it was a gradual stage, and I think that's the best thing. And I think having had the advice, I'm lucky I've got really good friends who retired before me, like Sean Derry, Clint Hill, those guys who I'm very close with but look up to in terms of their career. I think the message was always have a sort of exit plan, as it were, so you can finish on your own terms, instead of it being, if I was completely injured and I could never kick a ball again, I think it would really it would hurt watching football, because you know that you could still be doing it. Yeah. I think I did it on my own terms, and I think that doing that, I was just at peace that I'd given everything, and it was time for someone else to have a go. I couldn't quite do the things. My game was all based on energy and sort of nicking in front of people, and I couldn't quite do that anymore, and I found that tough. So it was the right time to do it, and I'm happy.
How's the sort of Sky work that you do? We do it a lot. QPR fans, you mention us as we a lot of the time.
Oh yeah, I do. I don't often get QPR games because of it, I think. But you know what? When I get QPR games, it's brilliant because I know the club so well. I also know lads who are still in the team, so I have a good insight to how they're getting on a day-to-day basis. I think in terms of an insight, it's good I get the games, but on the other hand, the teams who QPR are playing against, it's probably not great. So yeah, it's fine, but I enjoy it. It's good. I get to watch football, and I love football still.
Is that something you always look into? You said you had your plan. You had there was a progress towards you retiring. Was media always going to be an option for you?
Yeah, I think it was definitely something I was interested in. I think when I played, since I did a little bit, I think I didn't want to do loads when you're playing, to give your opinion when you're still playing.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it?
I think that is hard, and I think it's a difficult one. However, I did do a few bits when I was injured and whatnot, and I enjoyed it. So it was something that I thought, if I got the opportunity, I'd like to pursue. At the same time, it's extremely competitive, as you know, so I feel very fortunate that I've even been given a few games to do like I have, and I enjoy it. Talking football, it's your opinion. Some people like it, some people don't, but I get to watch football, and so that's the main thing.
And since when you sort of retired, what was your sort of first thought? You wanted to go to media? I know you did a bit of coaching.
No, mine, I knew it was coming. Everyone knows it's coming. I had sort of like a light bulb moment in my career where you've had a fantastic career, and I remember playing against a player. I won't mention the player. I think that's a little.
Go on, you mention it.
But over my career, I used to more times not get the better of them. Pace, trickery. One game I just couldn't get away from, and I'm just thinking, you know what? Then the next game the same. I just felt I'd lost a little bit of something. So I was starting to think, when James had a fantastic career, so he'll know what I'm saying here. When you can't do the things that you just used to take for granted, seeds start to get in here. But I was at Wolves, I had a season to go at Wolves, and I signed Mark Kennedy, great player, Mark, good lad. He came in for $2.5 million, bearing in mind this was 20 odd years ago. And I just thought, 35, 36 now, I don't think I'm going to play much. And again, Jamie, I know exactly what I'm going to say here. Certainly for me, when you've had a good career, I didn't want to be carted around the country, sitting in the stand, 18th man, sitting on the bench. I know you're part of the squad, but so yeah, started to get a little bit disillusioned with life. Could have stayed on, could have joined another club, but to be honest, at the end of that season, I knew in my heart of hearts I'd had enough. And people go, oh, how can you have enough of football? My kids used to say, oh, what are you doing, blah, blah, blah. But I knew it was time for a break. Unlike Jamie, I hadn't got something to walk straight into in terms of job or career opportunities. I got involved with a couple of businesses and might as well chuck my money out the window. People told me, if it's too good to be true, and often it is. So I was sort of pondering about for the first 6 months and I absolutely hated it. And I don't mind telling you, really got to a point where I was struggling with it. Because as a player, and bearing in mind I made my debut at 16, you're told where to be, what to wear, what to eat, everything's, I wouldn't say done for you, but it's suddenly when that's taken away from you, I suddenly realised I need to be told where to be, what to wear, etc. So I went through a real period where I sort of struggled with it to a degree, coming to terms with, certainly Saturday, Jamie's just mentioned here, look out there, running down the tunnel, 15, 16, 20,000 people either praising you or giving you a stick, I used to quite like both, if that makes sense, but I think
that was my biggest thing since everything that you've said there is that I was so lucky that I had those close friends of mine sort of feeding it in. I never got disillusioned with football at all. I love it as much as I ever done. I really love the game, but the fact that my own personal pride meant that the physical on your body, if physically I was, if I didn't have a few injuries and that just happens, that it override the enjoyment for it. Do you know what I mean? Where it was like sometimes I'd be on the way home from Trent, I'd have to stop 3 times on the way back from Oxford. You're like stretching on the side of the road, people are like tooting, and I'm like, nah, come on. And it's like there comes a time where someone can affect the game more than you, and I think that a lot of people go into coaching, don't they? And I think that I really enjoyed my time at Oxford working with younger players. I thought it was brilliant, and to a certain extent, the last section I had here, I was a bit older in the change room and saw really good players coming through. I really enjoyed that aspect of it, helping them sort of mentally more than anything when they have a bad game, like how to process it. And I really enjoyed helping people. I didn't want to be a coach, which in my heart of hearts maybe I did, but for the family, you're just all over. It's just I've been really selfish in my career, and it's great. You have to be. You only get one shot at it. But then to be a coach, it's a completely different life, isn't it? As a player, it's just you within the team structure. You finish training footballers get a lot of stick, don't they? But in fairness, you do finish training pretty early every day. But the weekends are right off, aren't they? So just a change up.
Look at Rangers this season. Moving on, sort of from the retirement, it's been quite a positive start to the campaign, isn't it? I know you've been here for a couple of games, seen us playing in live. What have you made of it so far? Yeah,
I think it's really positive. I think that at the beginning of the season, there was more of a buzz this season, and I think when you're playing in the Championship, you go up and down the country, and every club will go, our aim's the playoffs, it's the nature of the division, but I think there was actual justification for a buzz around this place because of the way the club was from January to the end of season, so I think there was actually a genuine reason to be excited, and I got asked that before the season. I think fans should be excited with what the manager here is doing and the team that he's got together. I think the overriding couple of words that I would pick out from the start of the season is the philosophy, that now at the club there is a full philosophy in terms of how the manager wants to play, and I saw it in the cup game. Who was it here since? It was against Oxford. Sorry, it was against Oxford, and I thought that I should have known that straight away. This was the real pleasing thing. I thought encouraging thing for anyone watching QPR. The manager made quite a few changes that night, and they played exactly like what you would call the first choice starting 11 would be, and I think that's a great sign because obviously everyone's bought into what they're doing. And then the other word I would say that's really highlighted what word would be, but they never say die and that.
Character,
yeah, the
desire,
character, sorry, is the word that I was looking for. I'm all over the gaff since. Character is the word I was looking for, and I think that those two things, when you've got a really good philosophy at a football club and you've got character in the change room, it bodes for a good season.
And you mentioned that character that we sort of showing. 10-11, there's a comeback that everyone sort of talks about, isn't there? Derby away, Jamie Mackie. QPR have become the comeback kings, as it seems, this season. Is there similarities that could be drawn from that year?
I think that it's when you've got the ability to not give up in a game, I think what it is, when teams are preparing for you, they know that we can't be okay for a half. That's not going to do the job. They have to be on it for 90 plus minutes. I mean, even the other night, nearly scored again really late on. So teams can't switch off against QPR at all. And I think taking that to games, it's hard for other clubs because they know that it's going to be relentless for all that time. So I think obviously that is coming back. How many times this season? 3 times already, I think.
Roughly.
2 or 3 times this season, and another sniff the other night of doing it. It's brilliant because you need that in the Championship. Now, on the other hand, people will say that can't last forever, and actually we need to be right on it from the start, because I think the Barnsley game at home...
2-0 down, yeah.
Yeah, 2-0 down, and I think that they found a way here, and they by nature, from the manager they had last year, were quite aggressive in their press, and it was quite tough in the first half. Second half got back into it, but teams will know that and going to have to start well in games to maintain where we are. But it's a lot of encouragement having the ability that the players don't give up after going a goal down.
Since, what have you made of it so far?
I think we've made a really good start, and I'll back up everything Jamie said. You know, it goes back to, someone asked me in the summer, do you think Rangers will be there or thereabouts? And I said, yeah. And I said, well, what are you basing that on? The fact you beat Man United, the fact you drew with Leicester? I said, no. The fact is, over 25 games, we took nearly 50 points from January the 2nd, I think, or January the 10th. I think January the 2nd against Luton got cancelled. And you know, when Charlie came in, when Stefan came in, Jordi Device came in, Sam Field, bless him, I know he's out injured, and we're thinking of Sam at the minute. But when No came in, they seemed to gel the team, the togetherness that you're going to need to get anywhere. His team that got promoted had that in abundance, you know, that character, never say die, and we've got ability. So if you look at the start of the season, yeah, we came and stuck the other night, first defeat, but the points tally we've got from the games, I think everyone would have took that at the start of the season. There's still a bit more to come. Just picking up on Jamie says, you know, character, brilliant that that's running through the club. I would counteract that exactly like him. Can we stop giving teams 2-goal starts? Can we stop giving away stupid goals? But you know, that's the nature of the beast. But no, we're a good side.
We also, since I think, you know, getting beat the other night, the Championship. People get beat, no problem. It happens, but the one thing I'd say is getting beat away at Bournemouth, but not getting beat 3-0 and you've been outclassed.
That's an on commentary, Jamie, exactly.
Yeah.
That. You know, there's...
You're right, the lads are right in the game and they've lost it.
I think that's how far we've come in the last 9 months in particular, that we go away from Bournemouth, who I think, by the way, they'll be there or thereabouts. I thought they were a good side individually, quick, athletic, game know-how, you know, they knew how to spoil the game, you know, little free kicks, chucking the ball in the crowd. So I think they're going to be thereabouts. So the fact is we came away from that really disappointed, I think shows us in itself how far we've come.
One of the key figures of the start of the season we've made has been Rob Dickie, hasn't he? Someone you know pretty well, doesn't he? We've only seen him for the last 18 months here, but he's already impressed everyone, hasn't he, here?
Yeah, I mean, look, it doesn't surprise me one bit. It really doesn't. I was really lucky to play with Rob, and I mentioned before getting the opportunity at the end of my career to play with young, talented players who have got deficiencies and they need to improve, but you can tell with some that they're receptive to learning and they're going to go that way. Having gone and played in League One at the end, there's a lot of ability in the players, especially some of the players that I played with, who I thought they've definitely got the ability to go on to the Championship, but have they got the mentality? And what I mean by that is not just on the pitch if you give a goal, I mean on a day-to-day basis, since to live like you know, we hear now Ronaldo's 37 at the top level. That is the standard, and it filters down to get worse and worse as you go down. And I think that Rob was one that I saw. He wants to do well at football. Rob does. His mentality off the pitch is spot on to football. He's a very good pro, and he wants to get better. Although he's in the top brackets of Championship centre halves, no doubt now. And I think that the progression that I saw in the first 2 years, and he knows this himself, he's very honest with his own performances, which I like as well, where some kids, he's not a kid, but younger players are in denial. If you know yourself and how to assess your performance, you'll get better, and he's got that. And I think the first year I played with him, he maybe have made a mistake and compiled it maybe with another one.
Yeah.
And I think that the second year, it was like he had a summer. When I say a good summer, I don't mean a good summer for you, Since where you're in partying for, in the sense of the word that I think a good summer. Yeah, I certainly do. A good summer. I mean a good summer in terms of he came back the second season, and I was like, wow. I think we did it might have been a one-on-one session, and I was physical how I played, and I'd like to think that most players I played, I could find an edge like that. That was my game. I wasn't a technical player, but against Rob the second time, you know, when you go up against someone and you push off them, or I won't do it to you, I don't want you to end up on the pitch. But you know, you bounce, and I'd go, wow. I'd be like, he became very physical and strong, demanding off other. He grew as a person and physically over that summer, and then the second season, I mean, he had a fag on in League One. It was like it was very easy for him, and he's come here, which I thought was a great fit because he's very good at playing. Yeah. He's not a centre half straight line, just head it and kick it. He's very comfortable on the ball, and the nature of how the club's playing now, it suits him. As you've seen, he's going.
Did he speak to you about QPR as a club?
Of course he did. Yeah, he knows my affiliation with the club, and I'm really tight with Rob. I get on really well, and we spoke, and he said, you know, everything about him. We just had a completely honest chat, and I think when some people ask me about QPR, it can be a bit, everything's brilliant, and do you know what I mean? But obviously, where I'm close to him, I have to be brutally honest with him. And I said to him that you can see, can't you? Some people it fits for, and some people it doesn't. For him, it's been brilliant. We had a really good chat about it, and obviously he ended up going to sign, not because of what I said. He wanted to sign from anyway, but it was good, and he's gone since he's been out here. He's gone from strength to strength.
If I can just jump in there, you know, what's he been here? 18 months, been absolutely superb. Absolutely superb. There's always this question that fans might look, and players and whatever, you know, when someone's stepping up, can they do it? How good they're going to be? Rob Dickie, since he's been at the club, has been absolutely superb. I think he won Player of the Year last year. What's really impressed me with Rob is sometimes the second season, when you've come and proven to everyone how good you are.
Yeah.
He's kicked on.
Can you do it again? He's almost gone up a notch. I see now he's defended better. I think leadership qualities have been given the armband a couple of times. You know, can't not mention the goals he's scored, but you know, I look at what he's in the team for, and I know he made a mistake the other night, but he's human, and that's one mistake I could probably...
Just bringing in what Mackie said, but that bringing an experience that we'll learn from now and become
an even better player. And I hope, Jamie knows him as a person, I don't know him as a player, I've spoken to him a couple of times, but I watch him play. I hope he doesn't, and he won't, because I see him once he had made a mistake, don't dwell on that mistake. Think of the positives. Playing the way we're going to play, playing out from the back, playing as a centre back, you always might make a...
But this is what I've spoken to Rob actually, and do you know what? The way that we play now, everyone in the stand, it works because they're winning games. They've proven that it works. If you're playing in that way, there is 100%. If I'm playing against QPR now, I know I will definitely get a chance. At some point, it might not even be in one game, but a team throughout the season will, because the way that I play. But it worked, and that's the philosophy. Rob Dickie would never make a mistake in his whole career if you went like that. Split, put the ball in the 6-yard box, and then everyone goes up, and you just boot it. You've got to take responsibility and get the ball. play out from the back, because that's how you beat teams, and that's how
he's done that really well. He steps in,
yeah.
He steps across the halfway line. We've mentioned probably 3 screamers. The crowd, as soon as he steps forward, shoot sort of thing. I think he's done exceptionally well, and I think he can even get better and go on. I'm delighted. He's part of our club.
Obviously, looking at the games, we've got Bristol City on Saturday. It's a chance to sort of put some wrongs that we had on Tuesday right. But then we go into the third round of the Carabao Cup against Everton. Now, both of you have had quite success in cup tournaments. Is it something that can excite the crowd and sort of really
I've had relatives. I haven't had any success. Let's be honest, I've had no success in cup competitions. Since it's won it, I haven't had any success. So you should speak to Sinton about the cup, I think.
Would it kickstart the season or really help push on?
I think
what has already been a positive start.
I think it can help you. I think there's no better thing than playing games against good opposition and getting results. Someone said pre-season, when we beat United, we went up to Cambridge and won 2-1, then we drew with Leicester. Someone said it's only pre-season. Don't underestimate pre-season, and because it builds confidence individually, collectively. You go into the season, and I don't think it was any coincidence that we had a really good pre-season in terms of the training, performances and results, and we carry that into the league sort of campaign. Carabao Cup, Everton, quality club, quality side, riding high at the moment. Someone asked me a couple of days ago, will they go strong? Why wouldn't they? I'm sitting on the outside, but my philosophy is there's one team that's going to win the Premier League, there's 4 going to get in the Champions League, maybe Everton. But I would sooner, and fans would sooner, their club win a trophy. And having won it, thanks Jamie for mentioning that, having won it, that 4-minute appearance that I got made all the difference. Came off the bench for 4 minutes. But when you've gone all the way and you get to Wembley and you win it and you're celebrating with your players, your teammates and your fans and your family, I'll tell you what, those memories are just like it happened yesterday. So Everton will come here, I think they'll go strong. But what a game for us. The people who talk about Rob Dickie might be playing against Richarlison and people like that. There's another opportunity for him to show how good he is.
Yeah, and this is where I'm really conflicted about this, especially at the minute, because I look and I go, it's West Brom on Friday, and I want QPR to get promoted. And to be honest with you, it's very different, I think, if you're a Premier League club and you've got the opportunity of winning the cup. Now, I would say the cup competition can be really good if you've been potentially average at the start of the season, and I get it, you want momentum, but at the same time, it can kick-start a season, but the season's very well up and running and kick-started here. I'm not a manager and a coach, but if I was, I'd find it really hard to play the team that I'm going to play at
with the Friday night game.
Yeah, because it's a Friday night game since I think it changes it, and I think that after that, again it goes Tuesday, Saturday, and I'm like, look, I was so like, we won the league here, cup competitions were irrelevant.
Yeah.
Didn't matter, we're going to win the league. We were like, boom, we're out of the league. But from a player, to flip it again, if let's pick Rob Dickie for argument's sake, or let's say Lyndon Dykes, who I've been so impressed with since he's signed, done brilliant and he's scoring goals. I want to play against Premier League centre-halves. I want to, but I did it, and I begged Neil Warnock to play because Blackburn were in the, and I think we're going to touch on it later, they were in the Premier League, and I was doing well, we were flying. I was like, Premier League team, I'm playing. He's like, you're not playing, not even coming. and I begged him to play, and I broke my leg. But that's just whatever, that's luck. But it's very hard for a manager to get it right. And I know maybe the fans might not want it. I don't know where they stand on this, but I wouldn't blame the manager if the lads who aren't starting against West Brom don't play.
He's done it in the previous couple of rounds, hasn't he, Mark? He's mixed it up against Oxford. He made a lot of changes. Yeah. You could say Oxford, Everton. How does he approach it? But it'll be interesting.
But you need the other boys to play.
Yeah.
Don't you?
To keep the squad sort of, fresh, minutes in the legs, competition for places.
You want to get promoted.
You'll see the African Cup of Nations coming up in January, so it's a chance for Jordan Archer, say, he'll be playing, so he needs to maintain his match fitness.
So it is an awkward one from a personal point of view, and that's where, that's what football's all about, isn't it? Opinions. I think that'll be a big crowd. Everton will fill this end, will be. our fans would love to turn Everton over. So yeah,
I would love that as well, but I couldn't care less if we beat Everton, if QPR beat Everton, and then go out in another round, and someone could potentially get injured and then potentially affect West Brom. I wouldn't take it because I want QPR to get promoted.
We mentioned the injury at Blackburn, so we'll touch on that now. We saw Luke Amos returning. He was on the bench at Bournemouth for the first time since he got his major injury at Bournemouth the year before. Mentally, what's it like to come back from a tough injury like that? I think
it is tough. It is tough, definitely. But I think that if you've got, we touched on character earlier. I feel from speaking to a few people and just kind of looking at how they play and they celebrate wins together. I feel that it's a really good changing room, and you're around it a lot. I'm not around it, you're around it, but I do get that feel, and there's no coincidence that that's turning into results. I think it's essential to have a good changing room. It just is, and I think for him, where he's got that environment and the club's doing well, I think that really helps to come back from an injury. I think that if the club's in a bit of a negative place, it spills over and it's like you're trying to get back and you're really positive, but everyone's a bit doom and gloom around. It doesn't help you with your rehab. For me, we'd got promoted, so I had a summer, not a good summer partying. I was in every day in the summer, but I had the carrot of playing my first game in the Premier League, having been the lads basically doing me the biggest favour in the universe and got us promoted. Rehab wasn't hard for me because I was like, I didn't have enough hours in the day. I would have stayed in there for 24 hours to play in the Premier League. And I feel that he's got that a little bit. He's coming back to a team that's on the up, great buzz around the place. I think that will help him. And he's a very good player, so I think it's great for the squad to see him back. That would give them a lift as well. Exactly. More competition, brilliant, you need that.
What's that moment like when you walk back on the pitch for the first time?
Well, we were 6-0 down at Fulham, so it was...
Got a difference.
Yeah, go on, Jay, get 7 goals.
Get us back in it.
Yeah. So, do you know what? Neil Warnock was amazing with me, and that's the other thing. I think that I had him as a manager who I had a great relationship with, and it wasn't like, you're injured, get out my face. Obviously, come a Friday, you can't help the team, so it's like, get out of the way, stop being busy. But he wanted me back, and he was really supportive.
I think that's so important for any player who's injured for a long period of time. The environment you're in, your manager, your teammates, your family, your friends, so important.
Have you ever suffered from a bad injury?
Nowhere near that, and nowhere near Luke's, just knee operations, and it can be. The worst part with me, when you're halfway through and you know you're getting closer, you see the lads, you look out the window, the lads are doing their warm-up laps, they're having a bit of banter, they're having a laugh, and you don't feel quite part of it. But then, credit to the lads, if you've got a good change room, the lads will come in after and they'll understand that you're struggling a little bit, and that's where good pros are worth their weight.
They've got Dan here who gets them fit in the gym. He's brilliant. They've got really good stuff, and here I have to say he is up there, really up, very, very good at his job. And I think that I had loads of injuries, second spell, I was rubbish. It killed me, you know what I mean? But you feel guilty when you're injured, but if you tear your hammy off the bone or I had an operation, there's nothing you can do, but you do feel a bit guilty. You want to be playing. Since I found that bit. Like,
I just want to ask you a question on that. Having gone through what you went through and seen someone like a Luke, 22, who's gone through 2 bad injuries, what would you say to a young player who's 21, 22, trying to make their way in the game, trying to get a foothold for their career? Because they must get advice from all over the place. But having gone through it, what would you say to him,
before you get an injury, or
no, whilst he's got it, those initial couple of weeks where you get the results from your scan, you know you're going to be out for 10, 12 months. What, as an experienced player in the dressing room who's been through that, what can you...
I think a really positive spin to put on it, Sinton, there's no doubt they're not going to listen to this in the first week because your head's in the bin. You're like, I want to be playing football, and these
have been taken away from
exactly, and it's a killer. Do you know? There's 2 things I put a positive spin on it. Is that when you are fit, remember what it felt like when you see a teammate who's in the gym and they're struggling. Like, remember that, and remember the days where football's not all roses. Some days you go in, you've got a family, you've had a bad kit, you go in and you're like, oh, training, and people can't understand that necessarily, because every day, and they're right to think that, because every day it's a privilege to play football and train, but you do have days you're human where you're like, I can't get going here, and you've got to remember, so you can remember the time, and also I found it that you can really learn your game without playing. Watch games, don't isolate yourself.
Don't waste your time.
I get it if you don't want to come on a Saturday because it's too tough because you want to be out there. But watch games and think, when I'm back, set some goals for yourself. Right. I think that's really good. Like set a goal. Right, I'm going to get fit. Don't have so much. I'm going to be back, but I want to hit these goals. And then remember, do everything. I say this to I work now with a few players and speak to them a lot of the time, and I love it. Is put everything into recovery, since you've got one opportunity to get a contract that, and if we're talking brutally honestly about money to set you up first and foremost, but to play football, put everything you've got into recovery, and that won't even touch the sides of what a lot of the boys can earn playing football, but keep out there playing football. And you can prevent injuries from working hard with Dan in the gym every day. Don't miss gym sessions. One gym session you miss, you can go out there, pull something, and in your back of your head you go, I know I mugged it. I didn't do everything I can do, so don't ever do that. Don't have any regrets. That's what I'd say.
I think that would be brilliant, because some players, they get their injury when they're at 29. They've got 200, 300 games. I always feel for the kid who's right at the start of his career.
Definitely.
Just wants to play football.
Well, we had one of the best players I've ever seen, literally ever seen, and play that. You've got to be out there with the best midfielders they've ever. Well, I say ever. That's a massive shout. But in my era, out here, it was Ali Forley, and he did three. He did a cruciate knee, rehabbed it back, did the other one. Do you know what he was? He must have had dark days. I know he had dark days, but he came back from them all, and he had three. And he was. And I felt, actually the one person I've looked at who I've played with, he's the one that I looked and I felt I maximised everything, even with injuries. He would have maximised everything, but he didn't get the opportunity. I felt, because he was a Premier League player playing in the Championship. I was a Championship player who had the opportunity to play in the Premier League. He was a Premier League player, he's that good, and I felt, I really felt for him. But it's the nature.
And going back to Luke, great to see him back on the bench. Ironically,
at the place
that it happened, and I remember I was at the game, and no fans. He was 15 yards away, and he just sort of pulled up. I thought he got his studs caught in the grass or whatever. I wasn't sure how he did it.
It was his knee, right?
Yeah. And you just think, okay, he's done something before. I hope that's not the same. And unfortunately for Luke, it was. But you know what? Delighted to see him back, and I'm sure we speak for everyone, and we speak for Queen's Park Rangers fans. Let's hope that's the end of his injuries, and he can go on and have a terrific career and be part of our success that we're going to have.
He's a good player, really good player. So it's a boost. It's a boost as well. It's like that's the other thing. That's the other thing I thought as well. Is when you're doing your recovery, come back so fit that they're like. You can come back even better from an injury, which is crazy, isn't it? Because you can be so fit, because the lads are playing games. They're not working on that.
I mean, obviously, hopefully Luke will be involved, maybe on Saturday. What do you expect, sort of, from Bristol City? Another tough test.
Tough game. I know Nigel. Played with Nigel Pearson as a player. Great guy to have in the dressing rooms. Tough as boots. He'll have them really organised. See, they got pegged back in the last minute again last night, so they've made a steady start. But, you look at this squad and you think, on their day, their front two can hurt anybody. They've got experience through their side, so Jamie picked up on a half hour ago. In the Championship, you have to be at it every game. It doesn't matter who you're playing. If you're off it, you'll get punished and you might get beat, or you will get beat. So whether it's Bristol City, Bournemouth, Coventry here in the first half, when we were miles off it, but got the half time and kicked on the second half, I'm expecting a really, really tough game, but I believe in the side we've got. I believe in the ability we've got on our side, and I'm expecting us to get back to winning ways.
Jamie, what are you up to on the weekend? Are you working at Sky or?
I'm very lucky. I'm going away with a couple of my mates this weekend, which is something is very alien to me because I finished last year and then obviously like it was coronavirus, everyone was, you couldn't do anything, could we? And it was my first year, I had all these grand plans for finishing playing football, going on holiday in the season, which is unheard of, and obviously they all got cancelled, so I've got a few little trips I'm very lucky to go on. So
Playing any golf?
yeah, going to play golf. So
Well,
that is my new. My wife's listened to football chat for however many years, and now it's been retired for
Still
golf.
hitting on miles?
Yeah, but not always straight. Since that's the trouble.
Well, perfect. Thanks, Jamie, for joining us, and since as always, thank you for joining me.
Pleasure. Thanks to Jamie again for
Thanks for having me.
For coming in.
Great
I know
to talk.
keep you off. Fans think the world of you, and you're always welcome here. I'd love to get you back inducted into the Forever R's.
That'd be amazing.
And thanks for all you did for the club.
No, you know what? To finish on that, I feel very, very lucky that I had a career, but I've got a club that I've been able to be affiliated to, that my kids know that I played for, and so I feel very lucky. And it's great to come back whenever I can.
Brilliant.
Perfect. Hopefully we have something to cheer about on Saturday when we face Bristol City. And then this has been All About Ours, the club's official club podcast.